2 years after the state changed its charter school laws, Seminole, Oklahoma, a town of about 7,500 here in the east central part of the state, is serving as a sort of pilot. Charter schools used to be confined solely to Oklahoma City and Tulsa, but a law change in 2015 allowed charters to open up in every county across the state. Seminole Public School saw a proposal for a new charter after 2 years of failed bond proposals that would renovate the old condemned high school. That charter school proposal was brought to the local school board, which twice rejected that application. But earlier this year, that application was brought in appeal to the State Board of Education, which approved, and now that charter school, the Academy of Seminole, is slated to open next fall. The issue has been somewhat divisive here in the community. There are those who say that the addition of a new charter school that plans to someday serve as many as 700 students would have a negative impact on the public school system, which serves about 1,700 students. Those behind the charter school say that something needs to be done to attract more families and more business to the community. Public school advocates say that the charter school will be harmful, and they also see themselves as a sort of test case for the state before a new chapter begins of rural charter schools that may start popping up in communities across Oklahoma. Jack Cadenhead, chair of the Seminole Public School Board, said about the district's response to the coming charter school and the possibility some public school students will switch.
I don't know of any plans in place now on how to face that situation, because you're right. If all 700 of those students come from the Seminole School District, even 500, 100 even, it's going to significantly affect our budget, and some really tough decisions will have to be made. I definitely foresee reductions in force. It's going to happen. Even worse, I think, and this doesn't so much affect me as a Seminole school parent and a resident of the Seminole School District, but our smaller rural schools around Seminole that are much smaller than Seminole. The charter school's goal is to pull kids from those districts too.
The threat of losing students and the state funding dollars that follow comes at a time when the school district is struggling to build a new high school. Built in 1930, the 3-story high school with its Art Deco trim and giant clock above the front entrance was deemed uninhabitable 2 years ago, and its nearly 460 students were moved into a former grocery store 5 blocks away. Marilyn Rainwater is a local activist and Democratic candidate in a special election for House District 28, and she has made her opposition to the charter school a central part of her campaign.
What I want is a solution for all of the kids in Seminole Public School. The charter school, as it's proposed, is a short-term solution or a quick solution to a small group. And bearing in mind, looking at the big picture, right now with our state budget, we're looking at public education being hit with some deep cuts that they've already endured. So it's preserving our public school system as a whole. I think when we come up with a plan, we need to be looking at what's best for all of the kids, not a few who like the idea of a charter school. And I worry that anytime there's a plan that takes public funding away from a public school system, that is a road down a path we don't want to go on.
2 years ago, the Seminole High School building was deemed unusable. The nearly 85-year-old building was in need of drastic repair. So the school district decided to move the high school temporarily to this facility behind me, a former grocery store and call center. The building was gutted and renovated while the school district determined what to do for the permanent building. Now, over the last 2 years, 2 bond proposals have been rejected by voters. One would have built a brand new building at a new site. The other would have renovated the high school in its current location. Now, advocates for the charter school said that the poor facility conditions was one reason why Seminole needed a new high school. But high school officials here told me that their school district is in good shape, and more importantly, their academics are really strong. Daniel Wyatt, who has 2 young children he pulled out of the public school system last year, said the addition of a charter school is going to offer the Seminole community the type of education choice found in larger cities. Wyatt is also an executive at EnviroSystems Incorporated, a Seminole-based aerospace company of about 195 employees that has become the primary corporate supporter of the new charter school.
This was a complete reaction to a lack of our public school board getting together and accomplishing a goal. We would have got these kids out of a grocery store and put a bond together that the community would have rallied behind. We wouldn't even be sitting here today. I believe both can survive. I believe it will raise the standard for everybody. In business, competition breeds excellence, and all we're going to do is bring competition into the market, and everybody's got to perform. The kids over there, the teachers over there, everyone. I do realize that people are afraid this is going to take funding away from their current position. However, not solving the current situation with the high school has already done that. People have left the district, they've gone to Tecumseh, they've gone to Prague, they've gone to Shawnee, so it was already hurting. All we're trying to do is keep it back here.
When the Academy of Seminole Charter School opens up here later this year, local education officials will be keeping a close eye, seeing how many students they pick up, how many students from the Seminole public school system transfer over, and how successful the new charter school is. But education officials from all over the state will be paying close attention to Seminole to see just how one of the state's first rural charter schools will do, and if more could be expected.